As soon as Big Steve got her, he was all for going right off to seek his fortune as a tunnel man. His mother was amused. "You better get yourself a little more practice around home, son," she said. "But, Ma," cried Big Steve. "You heard your mother," said his father sternly. So Big Steve began going to the nearby hills with Daisy every day. He found that she was a natural-born tunneler. The only trouble was that she had no more notion of a beeline than a cat. She'd get to rooting into a hillside and wind up in a maze of circles every time. "You got to tunnel in a beeline, Daisy," declared Big Steve. "Otherwise it's no good." And he set about training her. After a lot of practice, she got so that she'd tunnel in a pretty good beeline for a mile or so. One day, while they were rooting around in the hills, they came upon a hot spring underground. As Big Steve watched it bubbling and steaming, an idea popped into his head. "Come on, Daisy, let's bore a tunnel," he said. His father at the time was weeding the potato patch near the house. Suddenly he saw the earth hump up in the middle of it. The next thing he knew, Big Steve and Daisy burst through the hump, trailing potato vines after them. "Drat that boy!" cried his father. Big Steve looked about him in surprise. "What are you up to?" shouted his father. "Look what you've gone and done to the potato patch. You do your tunneling someplace else." He was mad. "I was just trying to help Ma," said Big Steve, "but I came up a little too soon." "Just how do you figure this is helping her, boy?" "Well, I found a hot spring over in the hills." "What about it?" asked his father. "I'm not sure it will work, but I thought I'd try it." "Get to the point!" shouted his father. "Ma's always having to heat water on the stove, so I figured if I piped the hot spring into the house—" "Well, sure!" His father's face brightened. "How far have you got with the job?" "I've got a good-sized bore from near the spring to here. Soon's I extend it on up to the house and connect it with a pipe to the faucet, I can go back and start the hot spring water through." By supper time that night, there was plenty of hot running water in the house. Big Steve's mother was pleased.